Champagne exploded against the garage ceiling, soaking one of the interns and half the back wall near the tool racks. People were shouting, clapping, losing their damn minds like we just won a Super Bowl. I stood off to the side, holding a lukewarm bottle of off-brand orange soda from the vending machine, watching Trent dump foam down his beard, while some exec pounded his back like they were college roommates. The launch had gone live less than an hour ago. Our new warehouse management system? Zero downtime. Page loads under a second. Inventory syncing across 5 states, real time. The live metrics were spiking so fast we had to throttle them to keep from frying the dashboards. And I built it. Every line, every configuration. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. The contractor they'd hired before me had lit the system on fire. I was the one who rewrote it from scratch. 5 months straight. Weekends, nights, no templates, no hand-holding. Just me in the back corner of the dev floor, fixing what nobody else could. Trent swaggered over around the second bottle pop, gave me this little side hug like I was his niece at Thanksgiving. He clinked his solo cup against my soda bottle. "Hell of a launch," he said, then nodded toward the commotion. Team effort paid off. I just nodded, didn't say anything. He took a sip, still grinning. Quick heads up, though, about the launch bonus. Budget freeze hit last week, so nobody's getting it? He slapped my shoulder, already turning away. "Still killer work. You should be proud." Then he walked off, just like that. I blinked. Once. Nobody's getting it? I didn't see a single other person at that launch table pasting cron configs at 2 in the morning. Nobody was there rewriting the container orchestration after that warehouse node crash. But sure, budget freeze. They didn't even pretend to explain it to me properly. Didn't pull me aside, didn't thank me, not really. They wanted me to be grateful. Like I should be lucky to still have a paycheck. Like I wouldn't notice they were pouring champagne on the ashes of my work and calling it theirs. I opened my phone, checked the traffic logs. Performance was flawless. Then I opened the contract, the one they never really read, the one I made them sign. They had no idea what they just triggered. I walked straight back to my desk and sat down like nothing had happened. My soda bottle was still sweating onto a napkin. I wiped the condensation with the sleeve of my hoodie and woke up my screen. Outlook was already exploding, 32 unread. Subject lines like, "Killer deployment," and "Can you share traffic stats?" mixed with Slack pings from people I hadn't spoken to in weeks. DevOps wanted CPU metrics. Sales wanted uptime charts. Fulfillment was practically singing hymns over response times. I answered all of them, professionally. Attached. See below. Let me know if you need a walkthrough. Cool tone, no edge, just enough that they wouldn't look too closely. Then I opened OneDrive, found the folder I'd labeled Legal Offer Letter, Final, and pulled up the PDF I'd made them revise 3 times before I signed. They never wanted to include it. I pushed. Hard. The clause sat at the bottom of the 3rd page, not hidden, not fine print. Bolded header, Operations Dependency, License Grant Condition. It took me about 4 seconds to reread it. Continued functionality of proprietary system architecture is licensed exclusively to company under condition of active compensated employment of the architect, employee. Compensation defined as gross salary paid on regular cadence, not contingent upon bonus or deferred incentive. Legalese, but simple. If I wasn't getting paid, they weren't allowed to run my system. The clause wasn't tied to being employed. It was tied to being compensated. No bonus, no license. No license, no operations, no business. I stared at the screen for a minute, just to be sure I wasn't reading it wrong. I wasn't. I'd fought hard for this clause because I knew exactly the kind of game Trent played, and he'd just handed me the detonator. I opened a new email, addressed it to legal with CC to my personal account. Subject, heads up, possible issue. Body, nothing. Just the PDF attached. Hit send. Then I opened Slack and answered a dev thread about our cache TTLs like nothing happened. I dropped into the monitoring dashboard, did a quick check of database health, and dropped a thumbs up emoji on a random celebratory thread. Act normal, act boring. That was the key. At lunch, I ate a sad sandwich from my drawer. During a build deploy, I scheduled a maintenance window like always. I added a new API hook just because I'd been meaning to do it for weeks. No big moves, no change in tone. But my system? It was a loaded bear trap, and now the pin was out. Legal wouldn't move fast. They never did. First they'd scan it, then forward it up. There'd be a couple days of silence, maybe a half-baked clarification request. Trent would probably ignore the first email, maybe two. But eventually, someone was going to realize what that clause meant. I didn't plan to help them, not this time. My job was done. My contract was signed, and every system humming along in this place, it ran on the foundation I wrote with my own hands, and they owed me for it, with interest. By Monday morning, the confetti was still in the corners of the garage. Someone had left a busted party horn in the break room sink. Coffee filters were gone, but the smell of cheap champagne lingered like a hangover nobody wanted to name. My inbox pinged around 9, all staff email. Subject, launch performance recap and strategic next steps. It had the tone of a victory lap written in PowerPoint slides. I opened it, scrolled, kept scrolling. My name wasn't there. The system diagrams were. My notes, my architecture, whole paragraphs lifted from the wiki I wrote by hand. But the credits? All Trent. Then 2 junior devs who'd been out sick the entire week of launch. Nothing for me, not a mention. I didn't get angry. I just opened a new folder on my desktop and called it Insurance. Pulled in screenshots, Slack messages, Git commit logs, date-stamped merge requests with my initials, version history of the deployment manifest, annotated, diagrams showing the original wreckage versus what I rebuilt, a video clip of Trent asking me how to fix the warehouse inventory sync on Zoom 2 months ago. No drama, no noise, just receipts. Around noon, Lindsay from sales slid by my desk, holding her lunch and pretending she needed a napkin. "Hey," she said, lowering her voice. "Random question. That contract clause you mentioned a while back, was it, like, binding? Just curious." I looked up from my screen. "It's in writing," I said. "Why?" She shrugged fast, eyes darting toward the hallway. "Just heard someone in ops say legal was looking at it. Thought it was boilerplate." I didn't answer, just nodded like she'd asked me about the weather. By 2, 3 more people had dropped hints, none direct. Nobody said the word problem, just those vague office phrases. "Hey, what was that clause again? Didn't you fight for that appendix thing? You're cool, right? You're still cool?" I just kept working. Took a late lunch around 3. The break room was half empty, one guy watching soccer on mute and a new intern nuking fish. I sipped lukewarm coffee, leaned against the fridge, and watched a meeting run across the hallway. I wasn't invited. Through the glass, I saw the screen. Launch debrief, org-wide learnings. Trent was speaking, big gestures, a few head nods from the execs. The whiteboard behind him had my bullet points on it. He was talking about my system like it was our win. Like he'd done something other than coast on my back end while kissing up to finance. I didn't feel rage, just this clean, cold line of clarity running through my spine. They weren't just ignoring me, they were erasing me. I finished my coffee, walked back to my desk, opened the contract one more time just to read that clause again. Still solid, still mine. Then I closed it, saved a backup copy to my personal drive, added a few more files to the insurance folder, labeled everything clean. This wasn't revenge yet. This was prep. The first legal email hit around 10 the next morning. CC'd to me, but clearly not meant for me to answer. Subject line, 8R3, licensing implications, employment clause. Clarification, Rebecca from legal had written it, clean, direct. Per review of Section 3C, can we confirm whether employee is currently receiving the agreed compensation structure, including bonus as stated in the amended offer letter dated March 18th? Trent didn't reply. At 11, she followed up. Same thread. Just confirming we're aligned before proceeding with external disclosures. I clicked it, read the whole thing twice, then marked it unread. Let it sit there like a lit candle. No reply from Trent. At lunch, I ran a passive scan across internal systems. No triggers yet. The platform was stable. But that clause wasn't just sitting idle. It was ticking. The next morning, things shifted. I logged in like normal. Email loaded. Metrics dashboard opened. Then Slack froze. Reloaded. Nothing. I checked my calendar. All my standing meetings, gone. Invites revoked. My recurring check-ins with DevOps, syncs with warehouse teams, just disappeared. I opened Outlook again. No termination notice, no HR flags, just silence. That's when I knew. They were trying to ghost me. If they fired me outright, the clause would activate immediately. But if they phased me out, made it look like I'd left on my own, they thought maybe they could dodge it. Amateurs. I opened a fresh Excel sheet, named it System Dependencies, Active License Paths, Column A, System Name, Column B, Description, Column C, Owner, Column D, Dependency Path, Mine, Yours, Column E, Risk Level if License Voided, started typing, one by one. The Real-Time Inventory Platform, me. Order Routing API, me. Scheduling Microservice, me. Forecasting Logic, me. Uptime Monitoring, me. I marked each one yellow, then red, depending on the risk level. Critical ones went bold. Halfway through, I added a new tab for indirect dependencies, teams that didn't know they relied on me because I'd made it seamless for them. Finance dashboards pulled from a cache I built. HR metrics flowed through a middle layer API I'd created just to keep it idiot-proof. They didn't know what they were standing on. At 2, I checked the Slack permissions panel from the admin backdoor I still had bookmarked. Sure enough, I was marked Pending Access Review for every key channel. Petty. They wanted to erase me without leaving fingerprints. I added a new column. Break time, estimated. How long each system would survive without an active license. Most were under 72 hours. A couple, less than 24. I didn't rage quit. I didn't call anyone out. I just kept typing. They wanted to phase me out. Fine. I'd phase the lights off behind me. By Wednesday at 8:12 a.m., the first crack hit. I was halfway through pouring burnt break room coffee when someone sprinted past the glass wall. One of the interns, Derek or Devin or something, holding a laptop like it was on fire. A minute later, Slack lit up. Urgent EODQ3 report not delivered. Any idea why it didn't go out? Can we get eyes on the reporting job? No pings to me. Of course not. Just noise in the ether. I took my coffee black and stale, leaned against the counter, and opened my phone. The dashboard feed froze, reloaded. That's when it happened. A red banner stretched across the top of every panel. License invalid. Contact account owner. I almost laughed into my cup. Across the floor, I heard raised voices, chairs scraping. Someone cursed loud enough to echo. Slack threads started piling in. Getting license errors on the main API. Can't run forecasts, everything's blocked. Is the system down? Why would the license be invalid? DevOps threw up a status page. Investigating incident. Root cause unknown. Leadership started spinning. Calls went out. Emergency invites flew around. None to me. It was beautiful. 72 hours. That's how long the clause gave them once compensation stopped. Not employment, not title. Pay. Clock started Monday. They missed it, and now they couldn't trace it. I'd buried the enforcement deep, behind a validation layer they didn't even know existed. No errors, no failure logs, just revoked access. Like a key no longer fitting the lock. I stayed in the break room, didn't move. Sarah from HR ran past the hallway, eyes wide. Trent was pacing like a kicked dog, phone pressed so tight to his face it looked like it might snap. The interns were panicking. DevOps was already blaming third-party vendors. Nobody looked at me. I was still out of the loop, still invisible. Perfect. I sipped the coffee. It was terrible, sharp and burnt and probably brewed from the same grounds all week. Didn't matter. I was there when the lights flickered. The platform wasn't just broken, it was legally non-functional. I didn't have to lift a finger. They tripped the wire. Around 10:03 a.m., all the department heads got yanked from their desks. Quiet, fast, no calendar invite, no Slack ping. Just a soft, "Hey, can I grab you for a sec?" And they disappeared down the hallway, one by one. Trent was the last one called. He looked pissed before he even stood up. I didn't move, just leaned against the hallway wall with my coffee, same cup from earlier. A few people glanced at me on their way past. Nobody said anything. The glass-walled conference room at the end of the corridor lit up. I counted 6 people, HR, finance, legal, and Trent dead center, arms crossed, jaw clenched. I watched from the outside, didn't even pretend to be subtle. Rebecca sat at the head of the table, laptop open, her screen reflected against the glass. I saw the clause file. She'd pulled it up as her opening move. She didn't yell, didn't posture, just spoke clean and surgical, like she was reading a weather report that involved fire and blood. I couldn't hear her through the wall, but I watched the shifts. Finance guy going pale, HR lead blinking too much, Trent leaning back like he'd swallowed a rock. He started arguing. Hands up, sharp gestures, a finger jab at the screen. Rebecca didn't flinch. She clicked something on her laptop, swiveled it toward the group, and waited. That was the clause, the actual contract section. I knew every word. Trent leaned in. His mouth moved, probably trying the classic, "This is boilerplate. Nobody enforces that." Rebecca raised one eyebrow. That was it. Just one brow and a tight shake of her head. She pulled up a new email. I watched her type a name into the to field. The CEO. That's when I knew. She wasn't just cleaning up. She was escalating. Trent shoved back from the table, started pacing in tight circles. Finance whispered something to HR. Rebecca never looked away from her screen. 10 minutes in, a new person entered the room. Someone from investor relations. Didn't even sit down. Just stood by the wall like they'd been called in to listen and report back. Then came the email notification. I saw it hit Trent's phone on the table. He grabbed it, scrolled, cursed. I already knew what it said. Bonus, unpaid, not deferred, not processing, not oops, just never issued. That confirmed it. Clause activated, no gray area left. Rebecca stood up, straightened her blazer, said something final and short, probably a warning. Then she hit send, message to the CEO. I didn't smile, just turned away from the glass and walked back to my desk like it was a normal Wednesday. Behind me, the storm was landing. By noon, the failures started stacking like dominoes. Forecasting dashboard went first. Blank charts, broken widgets, numbers stuck from 2 days ago. Finance pinged DevOps, who blamed data sync. Then sales projections died mid-demo. Someone from strategy started yelling into a call behind me. Slamming keys like that would fix anything. I refreshed my own dashboard once just to watch the wave hit. API timeout, internal auth denied. Red flag on the license check endpoint. Right on schedule. At 12:17, the vendor finally pulled the trigger. One cold surgical email sent to legal, finance, and operations. Subject: license revoked. Platform access suspended. This confirms operational suspension under contract terms. License will be reinstated once designated account lead receives full confirmed payment per clause terms. My name was bolded. So was the clause reference. I sat still. Didn't react. Across the floor, keyboard stopped. Slack threads turned from, "Can someone fix this?" to, "What the hell is happening?" They were finally waking up. Rebecca responded within 10 minutes. Short reply. Just 2 sentences and an attached PDF. She knew better than to waste time now. HR panicked. Someone from payroll ran past my desk toward finance. Folder clutched like a life raft. At 12:52, I got the calendar invite. Subject: compensation adjustment approval. Retroactive bonus location. HR office. Conf room. B time, 1 p.m. They really thought backdating would save them. I didn't go. Rebecca did. 15 minutes later, a company-wide email dropped. Internal memo. Legal status update. Legal confirms current platform breach remains active. Attempts at retroactive payment do not satisfy contractual requirements. License will not be reinstated until breach is fully resolved, per original clause terms. Clean. Brutal. I opened my terminal and deleted my personal sandbox credentials. Quiet. Deliberate. I wasn't touching the live system, just clearing my own trails. They'd locked me out of meetings, revoked my access, tried to push me out the side door without making noise. Now they were learning the hard way. My system didn't care about politics. It didn't bend for office favors or fake apologies. It ran, or didn't, based on contracts. And theirs was broken. I leaned back, cracked my knuckles, and watched them scramble. They were out of moves. The call came just after 9 p.m. No caller ID. I let it ring twice before answering. "Yeah," I said. "This is Alan." His voice was clipped, tired. "CEO. No hello, no fake warmth. Just straight to it. "What will it take?" I didn't flinch. I already had the answer. I alt-tabbed to the folder on my desktop labeled "If They Call." Opened the doc my lawyer had drafted 2 weeks ago, just in case. Titled, Settlement. Breach Rectification Terms. I didn't speak. Just clicked forward on the email and dropped the doc in. Subject line, terms for reinstatement, non-negotiable. Hit send, back to the call. "You'll have it in your inbox in 10 seconds, I said. "You've got 24 hours. After that, I escalate to vendor compliance." He didn't answer right away. I heard the faint clicking of keys, him pulling it up. Then came the sigh. Long, slow, heavy. "We should have just paid you." I said nothing. Let it hang there. "You know this number's insane," he added. "No," I said. "It's accurate." That's just the cost of fixing what you broke. Silence. Then, I'll need board approval. That's not my problem. He exhaled again. You realize we're in the middle of a funding round. Yeah, I said, sipping my wine. And you're gonna walk into that pitch with a dead ops platform and a breach on your books. Good luck. He didn't argue, didn't yell, just said, we'll respond by morning, then hung up. I closed my laptop, leaned back, and let the silence settle. The city outside my window was quiet, streetlights humming. Somewhere in that office tower across town, a group of execs was probably in a Zoom call with a lawyer explaining why one bonus check had just cost them control of their own infrastructure. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to gloat. The system was doing all the talking now. Every dashboard offline, every forecast frozen, every investor wondering how a company this big could be this sloppy. They finally understood what I built and what it meant when I said it wasn't theirs to take. By Friday morning, the office felt like a funeral. No chatter, no fake team spirit. Just people staring at screens that wouldn't load and dashboards that hadn't updated in 4 days. Everyone was blaming everyone. Marketing said IT failed them. IT blamed DevOps. DevOps pointed at HR. HR tried to say it was all a technical delay. The vendor didn't even pretend to care. Their reply was blunt. License still revoked. Payment incomplete. No exceptions. That was it. No more back and forth. No wiggle room. People finally started putting it together. Whispers around desks. Glances in my direction that didn't last long. It wasn't just a glitch. It was me. It had always been me. Around 11, Tyler from HR stopped at my desk, holding a yellow legal pad like it was some kind of olive branch. Hey, would you be willing to write up some quick handover documentation? Nothing detailed, just... I cut him off. I'm not available. He stood there like he didn't understand the words, then nodded and walked off fast, almost relieved. Minutes later, Rebecca hit send on a final email. Subject, breach confirmed, disclosure in progress. As of this morning, formal notice has been initiated. Vendor has been informed of outstanding contractual violations. Platform is legally non-operational until full terms are satisfied. That was the nail. At 2:14 p.m., the CEO caved. My phone buzzed once. Direct deposit confirmed. 5 minutes after that, an internal memo went live. His name, his signature, a full acknowledgement of my role, my ownership, and the clause they ignored. Didn't matter. I didn't go back. The freelance contract was already signed. Bigger project, better money. My start date was Monday. That night, I watered my plants. No music, no celebration. Just the steady sound of water hitting soil, and the soft buzz of my inbox getting flooded with people too late to matter. They begged, they spun stories, they asked if I'd consider advising. I didn't respond. No revenge speech, no smug grin, just peace.